Well, if you watch this show for any amount of time, you know that I really am an enthusiast of Datsun 510's. 99% of the population of the world scratches their head and wonders why anybody would be an enthusiast of this cheap little Japanese sedan, but for that 1% of the population, we know how special it is. It was a great street car, but better than that, it was a great race car. A friend of mine, less than 10 years ago, I guess, told me there's a guy in Hickory that's got a few 510's in a building. So I came over here and I met Richard. I didn't think he remembered me, but he does. And he offered to show us his 510's and some other cars he's got. So, Richard, thanks for allowing us to barge in on your business. And
let's take a look.
Yep. So here they are. And now,
here they are.
This is a Datsun 510, which was, when they were new, they were about $1,995. And this was a cheaper version of what a BMW 2002 was. They were, instead of $1,995, those were probably twice that much money, maybe even more than that. And they both had independent rear suspensions. They both had overhead cam, 4-cylinder motors, and stick shifts. And on the racetrack, the 510s kicked the BMW's butt. So Richard, what is it that attracted you to these cars?
Well, I was first interested in 240Zs. I had several of them, and coming up right out of high school, I had the Datsuns first. So I'm cruising through town in my 240Z, and I knew the 510s. I knew a guy that raced them. But this guy in a 510 just badgered me, and I couldn't shake it. So,
and you're in a 6-cylinder car, and he's in a 4-cylinder car.
We talked a little bit, and soon after I bought a 510.
Ah, no kidding.
They're just special. Most people that ever had one have fond memories about the cars. It's a lot of fun for a little money.
So how long have you, let's say this one, how long have you had this?
20 years.
20 years. It's got a 1600 in it?
This one's got the 2-liter LB20.
Oh yeah, okay.
Same motor they put in a truck.
Yep, yep. When I used to race my car, you could only run 1600. So I did a 80 thousandths overbore and put 1800 pistons in it. Nobody knew. So this is the classic, look for a BR, a Datsun 510. Peter Brock started a company after he left Shelby. He designed the Cobra Daytona Coupe for Shelby, and he started BRE, Brock Racing Enterprises. And he took this little $1,995 car and made it a kind of a championship car in the 2.5-liter Trans Am. So he developed this paint scheme. You notice the angle of the windshield is exactly the opposite of the angle of the paint scheme. And it usually would say BRE on here, Datsun. So this has got the paint scheme, it's got the fender flares, front and rear, and it's got the American Racing Libra wheels, and these are the 7-inch ones. You had to put the fender flares on to kind of make them work right, or they'd scrub.
That's right.
So this is the classic 510 hot rod that we all dreamed of owning. And when I owned my car the first time, I never could afford to have this car. But now I'm building it. Now, a half a century later, I'm building it. So here's another one with flares and the 13x7 Libras. Another 2-door. These were available, by the way, in a 2-door, 4-door, and a wagon, and all three are desirable. So how long have you had this one?
This car is a local car, and I'm gonna say I've maybe had it 6 years. In fact, I got them both as a pair, but I owned this one 30 years ago, and I got it back 6 years ago.
So you can see here's a car with fender flares on it, and here's a car with a stock fender. So this has got the 7-inch wide American Late Racing mags, and this has got the 5.5-inch wide, which is the one that would work with a stock fender. So there's the old engine. So this has got the Holly Weber carbureted conversion. See, I know my stuff.
Yeah, hey, well, we took twin SUs off of it.
So it was the SSS package. Yep.
And it just simplifies the construction of putting it together, and it's very easy to operate.
Yep. These cars now are super desirable. There are clubs forming again. For a while they kind of stagnated, but like everything else, Alfa Romeo GTVs, a very similar sedan, got real popular, and then BMW 2002s, and now these things are going through the roof. Isn't that something? So, what's your plans for these cars? Anything?
Definitely not to get rid of them. Not anytime. I'm not ready.
Well, thank God that you got them inside, because I see so many sitting outdoors. These cars did not have a lot of kind of rust preventative in there. They didn't have undercoating unless the owner put it on. They were made of thin, cheap metal, and they rusted and then rotted really easily.
Yeah, we've got one more 510 that's in another warehouse. It is strictly a race car.
So you don't want to sell any of these?
No,
I got a friend looking for a two-door desperately.
I know.
We're going to go to Richard's other building, which I have not seen, and he's got another 510 and some 240Zs and some other cars. So let's go. So here, a couple of Z cars, a roadster.
These are all, by the way, local cars. It's the 10th anniversary. They did these in red and black and gray and black.
Is this original paint?
It is. It's an original car.
With a manual gearbox?
With a manual gearbox.
Is this a turbocharged car? No.
I think that came about 83 or something.
And what year is this?
79. Yeah, the 10th anniversary, because they came out in 69.
That's right.
So it's a one owner, little old lady car, downhill both ways. And
that's a sweetheart.
T-tops,
never restored.
Windows, they came quite a way from 1970. 10 years with all the luxuries that they now have.
So this is, very similar to the 240Z motor, except this has got fuel injection, and the original 240Z.
And it's a 2.8, which the 280 gets you fuel injection, a lot smarter car, and they run really well.
That's a nice one. All right, we'll stick on the Z theme
and
here.
Then, this car, another friend of mine from Virginia brought it down here when he moved here. And he had the bucket smoothed in, the side marker lights are removed, the bumpers were pulled in. And guys, this was done 35 years ago. And he tried back then, the de-chroming it and painted the handles.
We all did it. I did the same thing with the Z car.
Huh?
I did the same thing with the Z car.
Yeah, and this is a 260.
So it's
Z here, it's a
74.
74, 1 year only, and they made a 74 and a 74 and a half. This is the early one. 74 and a half had 280Z bumpers and the 280Z dash. These came with the Hitachi carburetors, and it's been updated with the SUs, free-flowing exhaust. It was lowered 2 inches.
Yeah, as I remember, the Hitachi carburetors were troublesome on a 260.
Oh gosh, yeah, they were. They actually just look different. You can tell the, and SUs, they had Japanese SUs and British SUs.
Yep.
Okay, that one came, when I bought this, I bought about 4 of them together. It's funny, Datsun people usually have more than one. This car is the engine was already gone. It's a 240Z, a 71. I want a V8 one of these. And this one already being a candidate for it, that I've got everything to do it. I also, when I was in high school, I bought this Jim Cook Racing fiberglass body kit that widens everything out. I've had that for 40 years and never used it.
You gotta be kidding. Man, and that is a whale tail?
The whale tail was off a 79 280ZX.
So what I did, I had a 71, which had a weak transmission and a small radiator. I went up to Bob Sharp Motors, and they were building race cars, so they would take out the original radiators, original transmission. I would buy those things from Gene Snow, put them in my 71 240Z, and I drove that car. The day I sold it, I could still get 100 out of third gear.
Sweet. And then behind the 260s, a 1970, the last year of the Roadster 2000.
That's an SRL 311. SRL 311 was a 2-liter, and the SPL was a 1600.
But this is an original car. Soft top, the roll bar was added. I drove it in here and parked it right there probably 10 years ago.
So this was a Japanese MGB, only it was better than an MGB because it didn't leak as much oil.
And this is the 2000. They made a couple different variants of this. When they came out, they were 1600s. All right, in 68, they did a 68 and a half. They had Solex carburetors and a short windshield. And it went from 135 horsepower to 150. That was getting that much horsepower out of the same thing that 240Zs were getting.
Yeah, it's crazy. I haven't talked to somebody that knows as much about Datsun as you do, probably in a quarter of a century. All right, so let me show you this. This is me I used to race my 510 at Bridgehampton Race Circuit on Long Island. That's my car. I bought it.
I had an orange one. Mustard color.
Yeah.
I had a mustard one.
I found that Porsche color.
Sweet.
And so I painted the car, so that's it now. It just got out of the body shop.
It's gorgeous. I love these cars.
We're a rare breed.
This is an MG that was found up in Hildebrand, North Carolina.
So if you remember that, we just looked at a Datsun Roadster in the other room. This is a British version of that car, or that's a Japanese version of this car.
I think it's a 71. I'd have to look because I've had it too, probably 15 years.
It's 70 or newer because it's got the later grille, later taillights. Is that original color on there?
It is original color.
Wow. I've never seen one that color.
That's why they say it's a odd color, but it was a factory color offered.
So the Z cars, the Roadster, this MGB, are any of these for sale?
I'd sell the MG. I'd probably want $4 grand. There's a half of a Volkswagen.
So you're asking half the price for that?
Half the price.
Half price. Now this is a color that I haven't seen in a long time.
This is a rare color. And look, it's not been on the road since '95.
That's like a grape purple. So did these come out of Far East, Baxter's dealership?
The only history I know here is the fella passed away. The family asked me to store this. Actually, it is not my car.
Okay, I get it. That can't be original paint because it looks too good. Another Z car.
One of the guys here in town's wife bought it new in Georgia, and it had a very light rollover.
Did it really? So can you tell what year it is? I mean, all I know is 240. It's not a 70.
They put a.
It's a 71 or a 72, I'd say.
2 of 72. And look here, you want to see a diamond in the rough?
oh,
look
man.
at those hubcaps.
In the Z car world, this is unobtainium. Brand new NOS, which stands for new old stock, 240Z hubcaps. So $250 a piece. All right, so here's the fourth and final 510. Is that a dirt racer?
You know what? It has done both. It has seen action, both dirt and asphalt.
No kidding. At the Hickory Speedway?
No, it come out of Winston is where I bought this car. And it's for sale if somebody would like to give me $5 grand.
$5 grand.
It's a roller.
A roller. Is it a pretty solid car? The floors look good.
It's okay, yeah. I mean, it's a race car.
All right, I'm taking pictures of it because I got a friend looking for a two-door. Oh, so here's the original style.
Yeah,
of the
what you were
GRE
talking
Datsun
about.
with the stripes. So Peter Brock was, as I told you before, he wanted to match this angle with that angle. So they meet right in the middle like an arrow.
And there might be one more Z car over here.
There might be.
Well, I'm thinking there's another
yeah,
one.
that is one. So that is a 260.
That's 280.
280,
It's got the big bumpers.
Big bumpers, okay, yep. So if we talk about big bumpers, just so you know, the 240, 260 had little skinny, non-functional bumpers, but this has got the shock absorbers on there.
In '75, when the gas changed, so did bumpers.
And what I love about the Z car, you can take a 510 piston and put it in a 240Z. It's the same motor, except it's extended 2 more cylinders. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's go look at that other yard, and then we'll get out of your hair.
You're good.
So, are these the cars that you would sell?
No, this stuff in here is just parts.
Just parts, okay.
Or that's a 260. That's a first gen of the 260 and 74.
So here's the
There's a good front spoiler
dam, yeah.
that's good for the 74 up. Just excellent parts car.
Yep.
And if you're going to play with these cars, and I do, you kind of need some parts.
So we'll get off the Japanese thing a little bit here and there because he's got too many other interesting things to look at.
And we got a Metropolitan.
So this was made in England, and this is a crazy story. It has a 3 on the column, but it has a 4-speed transmission. I think they locked out first gear. Really crazy.
But it's got MG running gears.
Yep. Another early Z car, parts car, obviously.
These parts have got, with the new enthusiasm on rebuilding them, the parts have become valuable as well.
Yep. Look at this Riviera.
Yeah, 63.
Yeah, what an amazing design. GM, I mean, during these days when GM had this and the Olds Tornado and the Corvair and the turbocharged Oldsmobiles with the aluminum V8, I mean, they were breaking ground. Pretty amazing stuff. Now, something like this would be so expensive to restore. My God.
I mean, a really nice one only brings 40 grand and you'd probably spend that on it.
So I got to ask you something. Here you are, you're a lifelong Hickory guy, and you're still finding cars in little garages around this mill village.
They're still here.
I mean, what I try to do is give people encouragement, no matter where they live in the country, that there's still plenty of cars out there, even if you're in a little mill village. I mean, would you say the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There are still plenty of cars out there. They'll surface as people pass or things like that, but they're out there.
Yep.
And then behind you, Tom, is another 260.
Of course. Now, how can you tell the 260 from up front?
I just know what it is.
Oh, okay. Oh, this had a white interior. So this is a blue-white interior. That was a neat car.
Back in high school, the thing to do with the Z cars was to put aluminum wire basket wheels on them.
Oh, yeah.
Every one I got, I was running down to the wheel store.
You got an old Jaguar.
Yeah, there's a couple of those here. And I found these cars just like they are. I just, you know, if they're cheap, they're worth buying for parts cars and somebody crushing them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that I'm done playing with cars.
Yeah, it sounds like you're not. If you're still buying them, you got it bad. Now that is cool. That's the best Nissan accessory I've seen all day. This is a dealership sign. That's great.
I gave $500 for it. I'd take my money back. I don't know why I bought it. I just didn't want to see them take it to the junkyard.
You know, there's a couple of young guys. There's a couple of young guys in Georgia that buy old Z cars and fix them up. 2 college students. They'd probably love to have this sign. You would sell that?
Yes. Like I say, I just didn't want to see them take it to the scrapyard, and the company that was taking it down and brought it to me for $500.
All right, I'm gonna take a picture of it. I'm gonna send this to them. You'll probably get a phone call. And another Z car. MGB. Oh, there's your basket wire wheel.
There's another B.
That's an automatic 280. Big bumpers, Metropolitan, Corvair convertible. You got a lot of stuff, man. And from what I understand, you even have more than this, right?
Just a little bit. There's 27 more cars downtown.
All right, sir, I think we can let you go back to your life.
You don't want to see the other building?
Do I?
I don't know. There's a Sunbeam Alpine, an E-type Roadster,
But they're all
and
pretty.
another Z car.
Nope, they're too pretty.
Yes, these are good running, driving cars.
Yeah, we don't like that. We like the crap. So I met Richard, just popped in one day. A friend of mine said, this guy's got Datsun 510's. You might want to go visit him. And I went in here and poked my head in. And I didn't think Richard remembered me, but that was like 5 years ago maybe. And he said, yeah, come on over. I got some cars for you to see. And this has been, worked out to be one of those amazing days where you want to see another yard? Or you want to see another garage? You want to see, and there's one more building. We're going to turn it down because they're too pretty for us. You know the stuff we like. So anyway, Richard, thank you for spending the day with us. You can go back to selling cars now.
Absolutely.
And thanks for sharing your passion with us. It's so terrific to meet a fellow Datsun enthusiast.
Mm-hmm. We are a dying breed.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen. I hope you find Richard Armstrong in some small town that you visit. Happy hunting. Oh, that's a sweetheart. Oh man.
It's a 75. It is a 400 car.
400.
One owner out of Shelby.
Man. Very nice.
I like the project. Heck, I just like cars, kind of like you, the enthusiast.
And how?